Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on Monday, April 1st, 2019, to talk about Monday Night Raw, the final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. I want to apologize for being 7 minutes later than I was supposed to be. Had something come up with my son, so I'll just explain it really fast. So my son has a low iron deficiency, and because of it, he sometimes suffers from random, just out of the blue, out of nowhere nosebleeds. And he was in bed, and all of a sudden his nose just started bleeding, so I had to help him take care of that. Usually he can take care of it on his own, but this one was a little worse than normal, so it's all good though. Had a nosebleed, we cleaned him all up, put him back to bed. Yeah, we're good. So with that, tonight's Monday Night Raw. I'll let a couple more of you guys trickle in before we talk about it, but it was a very interesting show. Gotta send out the tweet to let people know we're live if they didn't get a notification, because sometimes that happens. Actually, a lot of times YouTube doesn't like to send out notifications. But Raw was interesting. I wouldn't call it a strong Mania go-home show, but I thought it was an overall pretty good show. Maybe good. I don't know if I could say pretty good. Maybe just good show. But it was interesting. I liked how Stephanie came out, kept it short and sweet. Like how Stephanie comes out at the very beginning of the show. And she just goes, I got an announcement. She's on the stage, doesn't even come down to the ring. She says, I got an announcement. So Charlotte Flair won the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. She won the title. And now we're going to put both titles on the line at WrestleMania. It's winner take all. Now, she didn't explain anything further. She didn't state if winner takes all means whoever pins whoever gets all the titles. She didn't state if it's you have to pin a certain champion to get their title. So without explaining anything, I just do assume that it's whoever wins walks out with both titles. So we'll see how that does go, but it looks like that's the route they're going now for WrestleMania. Winner take all, and not winner may take all like it was rumored to be. It's just completely winner take all. So as I let a couple more of you do trickle in here to the live chat and the live viewing of this show. The next thing that took place was Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman came down, and I got a gripe on this again. So Brock Lesnar's music hits, and the crowd boos as loud as they can. They're just boo, oh, we hate Brock Lesnar. And as soon as Paul Heyman goes, my name is Paul Heyman, and I am the advocate for the reigning, defending, and the entire crowd is doing it with him. Like, I get it. It's kind of cool. But why are they doing it with him? No. He's the bad guy. Don't do that. It's not like he's one of these guys like a Tommaso Ciampa who's the cool bad guy who everyone likes because he plays the bad guy so well. No, he's supposed to be the guy you hate because he's the advocate for the guy you really, really hate. Well, that's always something that I gripe on with the live crowds. They've done it the last 3 or 4 times. And it's just like, really? It's like, really? They really have to do that? So, again, just a gripe. Sorry, I'm sending out the text because my buddy texted me, said, I know you're supposed to be live right now. I didn't get a notification, just a heads up. So, Paul Heyman comes down, and he talks about everything's going to happen at WrestleMania. Heyman said that a winner takes all was an appropriate phrase because Brock Lesnar is the winner. And he's going to take everything Seth Rollins has and still walk out the champion. So, he said that Lesnar would take everything from Rollins, including his life, just as he took the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 31. No, WrestleMania 30, my bad. And when he took the hopes and dreams of Roman Reigns last year, Heyman said Lesnar would end Rollins' career. I could see Brock walking out champ. I don't know if it's going to, quote-unquote, end Rollins' career. I wouldn't go that far there, old Paulie dangerously. So, it goes on for a little bit more. Talk about the fans. He says, you're coming here for one thing. It's just like if you watch hockey. You only watch hockey for the fights. You watch NASCAR, you only watch NASCAR for the crashes, which I take offense to that as a NASCAR fan myself. Anyways, he then says, you watch football for the riots. Lesnar, he's violent, and he's going to take that violence to Seth Rollins, and then he's going to raise that title above Seth's head at WrestleMania. Rollins' music hits. You hear that, burn it down! And the crowd just erupts wildly, the crowd goes just whoo. Anyways, Seth Rollins comes out, and he just talks about how Brock Lesnar, you're walking into WrestleMania, but no one really wants to see you there. You push people around, you make demands. Rollins said that nobody, wrestlers in the back and the fans, don't like him. Rollins knew that Lesnar found this all amusing and called him the most decorated athlete in combat sports history. He said that beating Lesnar was improbable, but not impossible. Rollins said that he would beat Lesnar and take the title on Sunday. Lesnar laughed and shoulder checked him on his way out of the ring. Rollins would then grab Brock, kind of like trying to turn him around, hit him with a low blow. Lesnar came back and gave him a German where Rollins went flying. Seth then slipped out of an F5 attempt and gave him another low blow, pulling plays right out of the Shinsuke Nakamura playbook there. Followed this up with a super kick and a curb stomp. Rollins had held the title high above his head before dropping it and walking off. Crowd ate this up. They loved this. Unfortunately, the crowd doesn't understand WWE booking. Whoever looks strong on the go-home show, 95% of the time, means they're losing at the pay-per-view. As of right now, spoiler, kind of. Betting odds do have Brock Lesnar as the slight favorite to walk out of WrestleMania. Still, the reigning, defending WWE Universal Champion. Oh yeah, as Paul Heyman would say. Going forward, we see Seth Rollins backstage. Charlie Caruso catches up with him. She basically just asked him if he's ready for Sunday. And, if he uses that low blow on Sunday, he's going to get disqualified. And so Rollins goes, it's all good. I'm not the champion. He walks off, comes back, and goes, yet. So then we get an 8-woman tag team match. Sasha Banks and Bayley teaming with Natalya and Beth Phoenix to take on the team of Nia Jax, Tamina, and the Iconics. And boy, did Beth Phoenix look good in this match. I've heard people say, why is Beth coming out of retirement? Why is Beth coming back? She doesn't need to be back. Oh, Beth looked good in this match. Really good. So, Phoenix wore her old gear. In this match, she wanted to start off the match with Sasha Banks. Started off instead annoying the Glamazon. Banks and Bayley started off early. After commercial break, Bayley was in the ring and worked over Billie Kay. But she was distracted by Peyton Royce, which allowed them, the heels, to take over. One of the Iconics was about to tag Jax or Tamina, but they hopped off the apron. Bayley went for a hot tag to Banks, but Phoenix pushed her off the apron and made the tag instead. Phoenix got Royce and power slammed her. She was then, though, pulled out of the ring by Tamina. Phoenix then responded by being pulled out of the ring by basically spearing Tamina through the barricade, which stunned everybody, including her teammates. Her teammates also just stood there, and instead of helping, Tamina's teammates also just stood there, and instead of helping Royce, they kind of just walked off. Royce wasn't a problem, though, as Phoenix just grabbed her back in the ring, hit her with a glam slam, pinned her 1, 2, 3. Beth Phoenix and Natalya stared down Banks and Bayley afterwards. Very quick. But also, soon as they, went to the finish, hit that glam slam, Nia and I think it was Tamina may have still been laying there, but Nia was already gone. Nowhere to be seen. She already booked it. She was just like, I ain't having none of this. And they showed Batista arriving in his Cadillac SUV. Batista would then come out for a very short segment, kinda. Batista came out, got a pretty good reaction in his hometown of Washington, D.C. Crowd cheered and chanted, "Welcome back." They did the old Batista thing, like right before WrestleMania 26, before he left the first time, where they would all the lights down, just a singular spotlight on him. And Batista bowed his head and pointed up at the screen. Not the WrestleMania sign, but the Titantron. Video package played. It was a series of clips of Batista destroying Triple H. Crowd cheered for the video package. Batista looked right into the camera after the video package, took off his shades, and just said, "Hunter, kiss my ass." Smirked, dropped the mic, posed for the crowd for a second. Boom, there you go. Walked up to the top of the ramp, bowed for the crowd in his hometown. I mean, it was perfect and effective. It got the point across like, I don't care about anything but kicking your ass, Hunter. So next up in a Lumberjack match, which was more like a, hey, let's just put a bunch of guys around the ring to watch a match. Apollo Crews defeated Jinder Mahal. Match was designed to plug the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as the, I guess you could say, the statue was out there. They had a graphic for the Battle Royal, which shows all the announced competitors so far. They also have a second graphic for the match, which focuses on Braun Strowman, Colin Jost, and Michael Che. Strowman, not one of the Lumberjacks tonight. Crews won in 90 seconds off of a frog splash. He posed with the trophy. But then afterwards, the B team tried to pose with the trophy. And then somehow this led to a big brawl involving everybody. People were tossed over the ropes. Basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Previewing, how a battle royal works. Because that's what you got to do. You got to preview how a battle royal works. This was meh. It was so short that it was just nothing. Not only did Crews win the match, but he also came out on top of the fake battle royal. He pressed Samir Singh over his head and tossed him outside onto Sunul and Jinder. We then got a graphic. No, we saw Curtin Ray backstage. So, I don't know why this was changed, but as of this morning, they were still advertising Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. Then around lunchtime, even before lunchtime here in the Pacific Coast, they stopped advertising it on WWE.com. So they show Kurt and Ray backstage all buddy-buddy, when really they were supposed to be opponents. They announced that Yolanda Adams will be performing America the Beautiful at WrestleMania. I think she's the girlfriend, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she's the girlfriend of Titus O'Neil. So Kurt Angle came out for a promo, because they stated this is Kurt Angle's final night on Raw. It was supposed to be a match, but anyways. Angle came out, the top of the hour segment. He received a big reaction and a thank you Kurt chant. He said that this was the last night he'll ever be on Raw. And I think with the news that came out during Raw, Vince ain't going to want him back because he's going to StarCast. Yep. It has been officially announced that current WWE superstar and WrestleMania 35 competitor Kurt Angle will officially be appearing at StarCast over Double or Nothing weekend. With that, all of that considered, Kurt said, this is my final night on Monday Night Raw. So I guess maybe he doesn't come back for a final send-off next week after winning at Mania, if he wins, which I assume he will. Anyways, he wanted the fans to know how much he appreciated them through the good and the bad times. He thanked the fans, and they thanked him back. The ring announcer then directed the fans to the video board Titantron, showing Kurt Angle's entire career, in the WWE at least. They seemed to catch Angle by surprise. It kind of looked like Kurt knew about it, but at the same time, kind of looked like Kurt didn't. But Kurt's a very emotional person, so him crying here didn't catch me off guard too much. Noob & Co. says Kurt for AEW confirm. I wouldn't. If I was Kurt, I'd never wrestle another match unless I had to, and there's no reason for him to have to. So, I mean, maybe he can go there and just be a talking head kind of guy. I don't know. But I would not have him wrestling for AEW. And also the other thing, just because he's going to be at StarCast has nothing to do with AEW. Yes, there's going to be AEW events at StarCast, but Cody and Conrad has said this 100 times already. Just because they're on the same weekend, in the same city, and StarCast will help promote Double or Nothing, doesn't mean that StarCast is an AEW event, is an AEW Rand deal. I don't know how many times we can iterate that. Lorana Nation says, what would be a good seat at MetLife? That's about where it should sit at WrestleMania. Well, by now you should have your tickets. Because you ain't picking your seat now. But I went to WrestleMania 31 at Levi Stadium. And to be honest, I sat pretty far away from the ring, and it was still pretty good. Unless you're sitting like really, really close, you're going to be looking at the video screens anyways. So it's not like, oh, well, I need to sit in a good seat. It's all good. It's WrestleMania. You're there for the vibe, for the atmosphere, for the feel of it, more than I want to sit here and watch the action live. Like, yeah, you want to watch the action live. But like I said, I was at WrestleMania 31, and unless you're sitting within the first couple of rows, you're going to be looking at the video board anyways, because either you're too far back to really see the action close enough, or you're going to be having too many people in front of you kind of blocking your view. So back to the Kurt Angle thing, they showed a video package. Included stuff from Ric Flair, Big Show, Randy Orton, John Cena, Triple H, and even Steve Austin talking about Kurt Angle. These are all pre-recorded interviews from over the last 20 years that they spliced in all together. Video highlighted Angle as a performer in and out of the ring, getting hurt in his Mania 19 match against Brock Lesnar, Hall of Fame induction, and more. They came back to the live crowd, giving Kurt a huge ovation, as well as Kurt getting a little teary-eyed in the ring before being interrupted by, as they said, Washington, D.C.'s favorite son, Baron Corbin. And then you hear, I think it was Renee, because Corey goes, hey, did you hear that? Did you hear what they announced Corbin as? And Renee goes, yeah, and this crowd didn't like that. He's not even from Washington, D.C. Anyways. Corbin said the video package should have been in black and white because Kurt's ancient history. He said the man in the video wasn't the same man standing in the ring. He said Angle struggled to even take his jacket off or go home more than 2 to 3 minutes, or take his jacket off or go more than 2 to 3 minutes in the ring. He said, guys today were simply better than Angle. Corbin also talked about social media, the fans not wanting him in this match, wanting Kurt to have a different opponent. Crowd cheered and chanted for Cena. It's not gonna be Cena. Corbin said fans need to forget about the Angle they saw in the video package because all they would see on Sunday is a broken down man. I thought Corbin came off really well here in his delivery. Angle said, you know what? Sunday we'll have the real match, but how about right now? Well, right now, we have an exhibition. Corbin marched down to the ring, looked like he was about to get in, and then thought, better not. Corbin said Angle wouldn't make it to Sunday if he got in the ring right now. Rey Mysterio would then run out to kind of save his old buddy, old pal, the man that he took the world championship from in WrestleMania 22, Kurt Angle. Mysterio said someone needs to teach Corbin a lesson and offered to fight Corbin right here, right now. Crowd chanted 619, then Corbin gave him a cheap shot. Angle and Mysterio teamed up on Corbin. Mysterio gave him a seated senton and this allowed Angle to hit an Angle slam. This is a pretty good segment, all things considered. Again, it was supposed to be Kurt versus Rey. They wanted you to forget about that, so, whatever. Backstage, Charlie Caruso talked to Charlotte Flair. She asked Charlotte if she was concerned about having to defend her title on Sunday at WrestleMania. Charlotte said someone should ask Asuka if she was blindsided when she was beat for the title last week. She said she would blindside everybody at WrestleMania when she walks out with both titles. Charlotte wasn't worried about tonight either, having to team with a hothead like Ronda Rousey or a loose cannon. No, a hothead like Becky Lynch or a loose cannon like Ronda Rousey. My bad. She warned them to stay out of her way, stay away from her after this match, or else they won't make it to WrestleMania. So going forward, we then got the Raw Tag Team titles on the line. It was the Revival defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet. Great match for what it really was. There was a brawl outside involving Black and the Revival. Then Ricochet did that dive he does over the top rope. It's crazy the way he dives over the top rope and he does a half front flip. Then he flies in midair, kind of stalled out, and then he finishes the front flip. It's like slow motion. It's nuts. This man's crazy as shit. Dash Wilder managed to get back into the ring before the 10 count. Ricochet was trying to get into the ring, but Dawson was hiding under the ring, grabbed Ricochet's leg at 9. Ricochet then kind of fell off the ring apron, looked down, went to jump back in the ring. It was too late. There wasn't much to this match, but the interactions we got quickly were pretty good. So Revival does retain. Then after the match, Black killed Dawson and Wilder with black masses. Ricochet then gave Dawson a 630. I don't know where this is leading to. I know this title is supposed to be defended at WrestleMania. It was stated, I think, yesterday by Dave Meltzer that it's not supposed to be the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet at WrestleMania. So we'll see where this all goes because they really didn't follow this up at all. So then next up, they announced that Rey Mysterio will in fact be taking on Baron Corbin later on tonight. Backstage, Rousey was shadow boxing. Charlie Caruso approached her and wanted to ask her about the match tonight. Rousey was like, I don't want to talk. And then she kept on talking anyways. She's like, Lynch and Charlotte, they're going to face Judgment Day come WrestleMania. Because that's going to be their Judgment Day. Because Judgment Day is coming for them. And I'm like, Judgment Day is a pay-per-view that hasn't been ran in a very long time. Calm down, Rhonda. So Alexa Bliss was seen backstage. My echo's going to go off. Oh, nope. Oh, it didn't. I always forget when I talk Alexa Bliss, I got to turn that off. Alexa Bliss was seen backstage. She told Tyler Breeze that she liked his new haircut, and it made him kind of look like a cuter version of Chris Hemsworth. Bliss also talked about how great she's doing as the Mania host. EC3 started laughing about that and said last week's weekend update on SNL was great. Strowman then suddenly appeared out of nowhere and wondered what they were laughing about. Breeze blamed it on some guys down the hall, and Strowman believed him. Strowman then found the two guys, one African-American, one Caucasian. He said, You're calling Jay, or you're calling Jost, and you're Michael Che. And like I told them, you either come meet me in the ring, or I'm going to come backstage and find you. So he's like, I want both of them in a handicap match, basically. So backstage, a lot of backstage segments here, but backstage, Roman Reigns told Dasha Fuentes that the rumors of him not being 100% or ready for singles competition, they're not true. He thinks he's ready. He said he was totally ready. And then all of a sudden, he gets attacked and beat down once again by Drew McIntyre. McIntyre beat him down, told him that he should have said no. Over and over, he's just like, Roman, you should have said no. And he beat him a couple more times. He's like, you should have said no. And he beat him down a couple more times. Officials tried to break it up. McIntyre threw him into some stage boxes and electrical boxes and whatnot. This was very good. They're making Roman look like he may not be 100% healed. And at WrestleMania, I believe he's winning. So then going forward, Charlie Caruso interviewed the final woman of the WrestleMania main event. She interviewed Becky Lynch, who didn't care about the wooden stuff that Charlotte had to say earlier. Lynch also said she purposely pushed Rousey's a god complex to make her feel like she was unbeatable. She thought it was funny that they were trying to find another way to take her out of this match, but she was wise to their act. She said her opponents talked about wanting to make history, but she had no choice but to make history. So let me get the 6-woman tag team match. It was Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky taking on the Riot Squad. Now, I'm going to say it now, and you're probably guys are going to be like, yeah, you're wrong in this and that. I don't know. You may agree with me, you may not. Well, the match was very, very short. And the stipulation was, if any of these 3 women that are in the Mania main event attack or turn on each other, quote unquote, during this match, then they're pulled from the Mania main event. So what they do, kept this match very, very short. Lynch tried to apply disarmor early, but Charlotte tagged herself in. She got in Lynch's face, then Rousey tagged herself in. Morgan tried to schoolgirl Rousey, but Rousey immediately turned it into an armbar, submitted her. There we go. And then all of a sudden, Rousey jumps to her feet and attacks Charlotte. And I'm like, so dumb. Why even put the stipulation in there if this match is going to go 90 seconds, 2 minutes? It's just stupid. Putting that stipulation on it meant nothing. So all these women start brawling. Security comes down to try and break it up. They start beating up the security, so DC police come out instead. So the cops come down there. They tried to detain Rousey. She fights them off. She gets handcuffed. No, I think Becky got handcuffed first. There was so much going on here. It was hard to take notes and whatnot, but, I mean, this was the dumbest thing. It went way too long. So, I think it was Becky got handcuffed first, so then Ronda attacks her while she's handcuffed. So, Ronda gets handcuffed. Both women get brought out of the ring. Ronda's handcuffed, so what does Charlotte do? Charlotte forearms her in the face. They try to detain Charlotte. She kicks a detained Becky Lynch. They're all handcuffed. They're bringing them up the ramp. They're all yelling. Charlotte's like, I'm going to get each and every one of you fired. Ronda's spewing off some shit. Becky's like, oh man, not this shit again. Not this again. Why me? Da-da-da-da. And they get brought to the back. So they go to the back, and this has gone on long enough. So all these women are still trying to fight off the police. Like, what are you thinking? Trying to fight off the cops? Like, really? You're already in fucking handcuffs. So they put Charlotte in a normal patrol car. Then they take Becky and they put her in a black patrol car. And then without paying attention, they put Ronda in the same patrol car on the other side. And all of a sudden, you get this weird, awkward stare of Becky and Ronda looking at each other in the back seat. So they start kicking each other like 2 little kids with their hands handcuffed behind their backs. And Ronda goes to kick Becky in the face at one point. She misses and kicks out the window. So they pull Becky out of the car. And Charlotte's door is apparently not closed. So I don't know what they were going to do. Were they going to fucking put Becky in Charlotte's car? I don't know. But they go over to the other patrol car, and Becky gets kicked by Charlotte. Charlotte jumps out of the patrol car. All of a sudden you hear, and the car that Ronda was in starts going forward, crashes into the other cop car. Camera zooms over, and you see Ronda in the driver's seat, handcuffed, trying to drive the damn car. Like, are you freaking kidding me? This thing's gone on long enough at this point. Way too long. They're adding this storyline. We thought they added way too much over the last 3 months. They added way too much over the last 30 minutes of this. It was just ridiculous. Finally, they detain all the women. They put them in patrol cars. They take them away. And there's still 50 minutes left in the show. In my opinion, this should have been the last thing we saw on the show. But what killed this the most is if you watch Raw and also go on Twitter at the same time, not even 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes after this segment ended, and they're on Raw, the announcers are stating that we've just got word that all 3 of these women have been detained at the police station here in Washington, D.C. They have actually They're being booked as we speak. And then Charlotte retweets a gif of her kneeing Ronda in the face while Ronda's hanging out the broken window of a cop car. Like, couldn't think, let me stay off Twitter and I'll retweet that in about 2 hours. Motherfuckers. So that's that segment. I thought it went on way too long. It would have been a lot better if they just handcuffed him, brought him up the stage, and that was the last thing we saw. Honestly, it should have been the last thing we saw of the entire night. Because we did not need this show ending with Baron Corbin beating Rey Mysterio. That's another whole other topic, though. But, hey, it happened. That's the story. That's the story of the storyline. Too much. There's a saying that really would have worked here. Sometimes a little goes a long way. So moving forward. Michael Cole said that was the damnedest thing he ever saw. We got Heavy Machinery defeating Rude and Gable in 3 minutes. A minute into the match, Lacey Evans walked down, strutted her stuff, and walked back out. Otis did the worm into an elbow drop on Rude, but Gable broke up a cover. Gable knocked Tucker out of the ring, but Otis caught him off of the ropes, and they used the compactor for the victory. Rude wasn't happy. Maybe they're going to split up Rude and Gable. They then plugged Daniel Bryan versus Kofi this Sunday. Cole then said Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch have all been taken to the local precinct and are being booked. For more, keep an eye on WWE.com and our social media platforms for updates all night on this story. Less than 30 minutes after Raw goes off the air, WWE sends out a tweet stating the following. Let me pull it up and read it verbatim. So this was sent out 25 minutes after Raw went off the air. It says, breaking. Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch have all been released from police custody of their own what's the word? What's this word? I'm gonna mess this word up because I'm a dumb little backwoods Southern boy. Released from police custody of their own recognizance and will appear in court at a later date. Like what? You know WWE is not going to play that up, the whole appear in court thing. No, they're not going to play into that or do anything with that again. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So going forward, we had a 2-on-1 handicap match. It was Braun Strowman versus them two jobber guys from earlier in the show. Strowman ran over both guys outside. Crowd asked him to do it again, so he did. He gave them each power slams in the ring, then picked them up and threw them out over the top rope, again demonstrating what you're supposed to do in a battle royal. Cool. Renee Young wondered if Michael Che and Colin Jost could call in sick at WrestleMania. Cole responded, there is no sick no, let me take that back. Michael Cole responded with, there's no sick in WWE. Like, okay. They then announced that WrestleMania kickoff starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think they said the second hour of WrestleMania kickoff will be on the USA Network. Only the second hour, not the first. And then the main show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. 2-hour pre-show. Charlie Caruso then interviewed Bobby Lashley in the ring. She said, are you at all concerned about the rumors going around that Finn Balor will be bringing his alter ego, the Demon, to WrestleMania to challenge you for the WWE Intercontinental Championship? Leo Rush took over and said they wouldn't have dead weight like Mahal to deal with last week when they go to WrestleMania this Sunday. He said their only concern was over the after party that they were throwing in New York City. Lashley then said that he wasn't concerned and said he's beaten Balor every time they've faced off. I mean, in singles competition at least. Balor showed up on the big screen. He said that he's always been a man dealing with demons, and on Sunday, his demons would become Lashley's nightmare. Smoke then covered Balor's face as the camera cut to seeing the demon paint on Finn Balor. He stuck his tongue out and snarled, but we're getting the Demon challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. And this basically is a spoiler, because the Demon is not going to be used to lose. Just saying. I didn't like this at all. They should have really kept it as a surprise. They already ruined it when they put the demon version of Finn Balor on the WrestleMania advertising, like on all the stuff on their website, on all the stuff that they've put out as promotional materials in commercials and whatnot. Even the light post banners in New York and New Jersey have Finn Balor as the demon. So they've already spoiled it. So whatever. They then aired a clip of Rob Gronkowski at WrestleMania 33 helping his buddy Mojo win the Battle Royal. And then we got the main event. Match went about 13 minutes. They said the last time Mysterio wrestled on Raw was the night after WrestleMania 30 in 2014 when he lost to Bad News Barrett. After commercial breaks, this match would break quick. After commercial break, Corbin was in control and tried ripping off Mysterio's mask. Mysterio landed awkwardly off the top rope and sold his leg. Corbin began kicking away at the leg. Mysterio responded with kicks to the face, but Corbin launched him to the outside, then followed up with clotheslines. Mysterio eventually came back with a Hurricane Rana and hit a tilt-a-whirl DDT for a 2. Mysterio hit a 619 and went to the top but missed a frog splash. Mysterio tried mounting another comeback, but Corbin caught him on the ropes, huge deep 6, and actually pinned Rey Mysterio in the middle of the ring. Throughout this match, every time Corbin had any kind of offense, he was just like, that's what Corbin's going to do to Angle this coming Sunday. That's what Corbin's going to do to Angle at WrestleMania. Corbin then posed on the ramp. Angle attacked him from behind, put him in an ankle lock. Corbin was tapping out. Officials tried to separate the two. Angle's music played as the show went off the air, and the last thing that we saw was a big, cool wide shot of the arena. They showed a graphic with Rousey, Lynch, and Charlotte on it at the bottom of the screen. It said, winner take all, and they said yet again, keep your eyes on WWE.com and our social media platforms for more information on what's actually going on with Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair, as they have been arrested tonight and detained at a local precinct. That's how Monday Night Raw went off the air. So I thought overall, Raw wasn't a bad show. There were some questionable things. Like, why are you beating Rey Mysterio 6 days before he's challenging freaking Samoa Joe for the U.S. title? And then tomorrow, he better go into SmackDown tomorrow beating freaking Andrade. Because if he loses to Andrade tomorrow, what the hell are they thinking? So now, it's your turn. What did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? We do have some text messages already in. We're going to take some phone calls as well. If you want to text into the show and let me know what you thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw, you can do so by texting 510-906-1341. You can call into the show at 559-475-8473. That's if Skype wants to work, because as of right now, Skype's not looking like it wants to work. I'll try to get it working. For the meantime, we'll go to the text messages. Let's see. This text message does state, it's more of a suggestion. No. This person here says, what is Dean Ambrose's status for WrestleMania? As of right now, he's not on the card. There is no status of him at WrestleMania. This person here says, if the match is pulled from Monday Night Raw, will it be on SmackDown Live tomorrow? If you're talking about them pulling Kurt and Ray from tonight's Raw, it can't happen tomorrow because Razor Ray's scheduled to be taking on Andrade. So, no. Just looking here, looking at the chat. This person says, Angle stood tall. Maybe he's losing to Corbin on Sunday. I mean, I could see it. Let's see. Betting odds have... betting odds aren't spoilers or anything, but they're a good indication of possibly where things can go. And betting odds do have Kurt as a minus 200 favorite. I don't know what you're talking about, Jumpman J. You said, I'm scared to look on Twitter. Look for what? Because you say WTF was that. Also, Skype's up. If you guys do want to call, 559-475-8473. If you do want to call in and give your thoughts on tonight's Raw, 559-475-8473. I'll put the number back in the live chat as well. Before we get some calls in here, I want to let you guys know that we do a show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific called PWU Daily, where we run down a bunch of different news topics. Well, what we're now going to be doing is we're going to be answering some questions on there as well. If you head over to pwunlimited.net/PWU Daily, you can go there and submit your questions to be answered on an upcoming episode of PWU Daily. Now, what I ask is you try and keep these questions kind of timely to the news of the last 24 to 48 hours, so that way we can possibly actually incorporate some of your questions into some of the news stories that we do talk about. So again, head over to pwunlimited.net/PWU Daily to get your questions in for an upcoming episode, to possibly be answered on an upcoming episode of PWU Daily. PWU Daily does air every Monday through Friday right here on the PW Unlimited YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Pacific. Yes, a big kahuna. We still have a Discord. I'm not too active in it, but we do have a lot of guys that are. So if you want somebody or some people, some good best friends to talk wrestling with, check out our Discord. Now, take some calls. Take this one right here. Caller on the air, what's going on? Caller, going once. Going twice. No, don't got it. Let's try to take this one instead. Caller in the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, what's going on?
Not much. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I wanted to ask you a question. I saw the graphic that the WrestleMania doesn't start till like 7. Like, I thought it was going to start at 4 or 5. It kind of baffles me that it started at the normal time.
The pre-show is starting at 5 p.m. Pacific or Eastern, and then the main show is going to start at 7. What I've heard is they want to keep the show at a decent length. So unfortunately, either they're adding a lot of shows to the pre-show or a lot of matches to the pre-show, or there's going to be a lot of short matches.
Yeah, because I figured, I know a lot of people complain about the time, but you would think that they could have started at maybe at least 6. Like, it kind of...
No, I understand that as well. I was thinking the same thing, that the show would probably start, because now the shows start an hour earlier than they used to. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I thought, go one, like you just said, 6, go 1 hour sooner, gives you guys enough time. But also, with them not really being or caring about traditional pay-per-view, if it goes long, oh well, it goes long to them.
Yeah.
Because you got to think... Oh, sorry to cut you off, but one last thing. You've also got to think, they've got pay-per-view outside of the U.S. that the show does air on. And like they've done, I think they did last year, they actually asked for all pay-per-view providers internationally and abroad to actually allot at least an extra hour in case the show goes long. So maybe they've done that as well.
Yeah, I remember, was it 32? I don't think the show got over to like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I was at 33, and that didn't go over to like 12, but they started at like 6. So we're gonna see a lot of like short matches, like you said, or like the U.S. title, or like like on the pre-show, or like a good title match that could be good. You'll see that in the pre-show. Right. The cruiserweight title, you always see in the pre-show, so that's not the biggest deal. Unfortunately, you always see that in the pre-show. But, I'm not going to name all the matches that could go in the pre-show, but you know what I'm saying.
Right, and honestly, I would put maybe at least one match that you think is going to be really good on that pre-show second hour, so people watching possibly on the USA Network go, whoa, that was a pretty cool match. Let me go get the WWE Network, which technically is free if you're new signing up, and see the rest of the show. So... Maybe they make at least that second hour of the pre-show a little match heavy, or put a really good match on there to try and entice people that may not actually have the network yet to go get the network.
What match would you put on there?
I think
that would entice you the most.
I heard over the
you already get the network.
I heard over the weekend that the Tony Nese Buddy Murphy match was pretty good at the house shows, so that one should be pretty good. But if I had to pick another match that's already, let's see, I got the lineup right here. If I had to pick another one, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe the U.S. title match. I wouldn't do the IC because you don't want to waste the demon on the pre-show. So maybe Joe and Ray, but at the same time, they're building up the whole thing with Ray's son, so I don't see that as a pre-show match.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is there's a lot of pre-show matches that, that might go on, but, yes, my next comment is kind of like the whole, Charlotte, thing with Ronda and Becky and them all getting like arrested and all. I'm gonna say it was entertaining when you're watching it. Like, holy hell, like they're busting down police cars, they're kneeing each other in the police cars, like that. Like, okay, like don't get me wrong, like the segment itself was good, like from an entertainment value, but it was not needed. The whole thing is overbooked. I'm saying it was a fun segment to watch if you're just a fan. But the thing is, it wasn't needed. Like, it was really, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's really, like, annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
That's just my personal opinion on it.
And I agree with that a little bit because I thought the longer this segment went, the less realistic it felt.
Well, yeah, the whole thing was not realistic. I mean, you can't bust in a police car and knee a police officer and have fights and get out in 30 minutes.
I've literally, with my own two eyes, seen people get arrested and try to fight off the cops, but not to that degree. Especially 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, you would think at least one of the 3 people or 2 of the 3 people are going to be like, fine, I'm arrested. Let's just get this over with.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was entertaining as hell from like just from a fan standpoint. But the thing is as a pro wrestling standpoint, like, really, this is fucking stupid. Excuse my language, but you know what? I'll let you get to the other calls. But you know what? Thank you for taking my call, and can't wait for WrestleMania.
Not a problem. Thanks for the call. Have a great night. All right. If anybody else does want to call in, 559-475-8473 is the phone number. Again, 559-475-8473. So with that, just looking at the text messages here, this person says, you think maybe John Cena can come in at the end of the Brock Lesnar-Seth Rollins match and challenge the winner for the championship, winning the championship and becoming a 7-time champion? No. All I know about John Cena deal is that he's got a match and nobody knows what it is except people that have to know what it is. Let's take this call right here. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I haven't been here in a while. So, I was listening to you and I kind of like took a lot of notes on what you were saying. And I thought it was like, number one, there was way too many like segments. Unless and the matches were too short, I think.
You mean like on Raw overall tonight?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the matches like could have been like, I like Batista's promo. I thought it was like, but I would give it, if I was grading it, I would probably give it like a.
Ooh, call dropped off, unfortunately. If you want to try again, bud, just call back in. Let's take this call instead. Caller on the air, what's going on? Caller. Going once.
Hello, Tim?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, bro? Hey, I was just going to say, there was actually 2 things that I actually wanted to talk about.
Okay.
One of the 2 things was on, for the Ring of Honor G1 Supercard, is there any chance that maybe any of the AEW superstars might show up there?
No.
No chance at all? Okay.
No.
Lastly here, what about as far as the New Day? Do you think any chance of them maybe costing Kofi the belt? Or, winning the belt?
You mean like them helping Daniel Bryan?
Maybe that, or even maybe unintentionally. You know what I mean? Maybe he's about to win, and then something, just might happen. I don't know if you not purposely, if that makes sense.
No, after the whole way this whole storyline's been booked, I've been against Kofi getting the title, but the way this whole storyline's been booked, I think it's being booked in a way that Kofi's probably gonna walk out WWE champion.
Okay. You don't think there's a chance they might just kind of, because we obviously, I mean, there's a strong chance Becky might win, maybe Seth, and maybe it's just too many new champions. And I'm just saying maybe because the Kofi Kingston storyline is so interesting and people are, waiting and
Right.
chomping, waiting for him to win. And just to keep it a little bit longer, just maybe a little bit longer. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying, and I honestly think Becky's probably gonna walk out with a victory. Kofi will probably walk out with the victory, and unfortunately, Seth's going to be the one that's going to have to lose. And, if they go with the whole thing of the New Day accidentally or even on purposely or whatever, screws Kofi, then they'd have to break up the New Day, and I don't think they want to break up the New Day right now, especially with the way that
I agree.
Especially with the way that, Xavier and Big E were the ones that got Kofi into the match. Why would they go through all of that just to screw him 2 weeks later?
True. Okay. Yep, you got a point there, Tim. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
All right. You too. Thanks.
All right. Let's just jump right into the next call. Colin, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Good, thank you. I feel like John Cena is going to be involved with Elias because he's had history with Elias, and it's like they're keeping it a big secret, and there's nothing going on with Elias right now. The only thing that they're showing is just him singing, but I feel like there's going to be something there because he can't face anyone right now because there has to be a build-up, and there has been no... If there was going to be a build-up, most likely happen today or even tomorrow, but just... The more I think about it, I feel like he's going to have some kind of involvement with Elias.
Well, think of the Elias storyline for the last 2 months. It's all been about Elias goes to perform, and then he gets interrupted. So you could be right there where Elias goes to perform at WrestleMania. He's the quote-unquote musical headliner, and he gets interrupted by John Cena because he technically interrupted John Cena last year when Cena thought he was going out there to face The Undertaker. So maybe they pull everything full circle from last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you really look into it, other than Angle, but the Angle Corbin thing is going to happen for sure. There's no way with all these things going on right now, there's no way they're just going to put him in that match at the very last minute.
No, Corbin Angle, that's 100% set in stone.
Yeah. Other than that, when you really think about it, there's nothing else. There's no one else for Cena just to come and even do a promo with, other than Elias.
No, I mean, you have a point there.
Vince just needs Cena just to be at WrestleMania. That's
right.
All he needs. Just Cena doesn't even need to wrestle or do anything. Just be there. Just do one promo and that'll be the best night for Vince.
I mean, it could be just like WrestleMania 32 all over again. When The Rock was out there, Wyatt family comes down. Rock has a 6-second match with Rowan. Cena comes down to assist. There you go. That's all you need. It could be something short and sweet like that with Elias. I think you have a good point there, bud.
Yeah, and one more thing. The whole WWE just made the DC cops look like morons.
Well, I mean,
why would they
technically they weren't actual police officers, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, just for like the sorry for my language, but the stupid fans that actually believe that those are real cops.
Right.
Why would you put them in the same car and then Charlotte never even touched? If you actually look at the video, she punches Ronda. She never touched a cop. So, and out of nowhere, they just come and grab her. You have from what I know.
Well, the reason
actually touch a cop.
Right. Well, the reason she got detained, it was because Ronda was handcuffed. She went and hit Ronda as she was handcuffed. So the cops tried to pull her off of Ronda. And when they did that, I guess you can say maybe when the camera wasn't quite looking, she hit a cop in the whole melee of her trying to get pulled away. So I don't know. There was so much to this segment. It was almost too hard to follow. It was just, in my opinion, way too much. It was overdone.
Yeah, and it's for that reason they did this amazing build-up to it, and now slowly they're killing that build-up, and now a lot of fans... I actually have a friend that was at the show. He said that people were just leaving one by one because it was one of the worst shows ever for Raw.
Wow.
They're I don't know what's going on with Vince, and I don't know. It makes you wonder what they're thinking of doing that kind of segment and killing all that hype and build.
No, I totally agree with you for sure, but I want to say thank you for the call and have a great night.
Thank you, too.
All right, let's jump into, let's see the time right now. I'll take a couple more calls. Sorry for that, if the audio got loud. When you exit a Skype call, sometimes it spikes your audio. So if you do want to call in, 559-475-8473. Got a call right here. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, okay, hi. Hey, Tim, so I have a question about the Triple H and Batista match.
Okay.
So, after that match, do you think Batista will work after Mania?
No.
Or no? No? Okay.
Batista has said for at least the last 3 years that what he wants to do is have one last final match. He wants a WrestleMania match, and he wants to work the match against Triple H because, Triple H is one of his closest friends in wrestling. Triple H really, his match with Triple H at WrestleMania 21 catapulted his career, the whole stuff with Evolution. So he wanted his career to come full circle. If you really want to hear him talk about this, go listen to his interview on the Edge and Christian podcast. He basically talks about everything he wants to do. Final match with Triple H, and then he's done with wrestling. He'll never think about coming back to wrestling again. He'll go be a movie star in Hollywood like he's already doing, and he'll have his, I guess you could say, closure of the wrestling industry.
Now, with Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar, if Seth Rollins does not win, can you see him going to SmackDown the following week?
I mean, there's an opportunity there for sure. I think, they've got to move some people. They've got to move some bigger names. Because in the past, they've moved names that were just whatever names. They moved,
all right, yeah.
They moved Kevin Owens, who was a big star at one point, but they've cooled him off a lot. They moved The Miz back and forth and stuff. But they never moved anybody as big and popular as a Seth Rollins. And they need somebody like that for when the show goes to Fox.
Yeah. I think they should move Randy Orton to Raw. Because Randy Orton hasn't been on Raw in such a long time.
True, and also
AJ Styles.
AJ was supposed to come to Raw.
Last year, right?
It was WrestleMania. When did he lose the? Let me think about this for a second. I think it was last year, it was last year. He was supposed to come to Raw, and in day of the Superstar Shakeup, the Raw side of things, they said, "You're not moving. We're moving Bray Wyatt instead."
Right.
So AJ is someone that should come over as well.
Do you think they're going to combine the title though afterwards?
The women's?
After the Raw. Yeah, the women's. Do you think they're going to combine both?
I haven't heard anything of being a unification. So the one thing I can maybe think they do is, this would be dumb to do, but maybe they can. Becky comes out with both titles. Becky stays on SmackDown, or Becky goes to Raw, and then she has to vacate the other one. Little mini tournament to crown a new champion. Maybe they do something like that. I think it would be dumb. Then why would you even put both titles on the line if that's going to be the plan? So we'll see how it goes, but I would not.
Right.
I would not unify the titles, because then that kills the whole brand split.
Right. And with the Raw Tag Team Championships, do you think Aleister Black and Ricochet will have another opportunity, or just stay back in NXT for a while?
They're not going to stay in NXT. I do believe that they're going to lose to the War Raiders on Friday night at TakeOver, and then starting next week, they'll be done with NXT, fully up on the main roster. Ricochet and Black did state at the last Full Sail TV tapings that, from what they know, that was supposed to be their last Full Sail tapings. So their full-time main roster, full-time main roster starting next week.
Wow. Yeah, because I could see them. Like, do you know what show they're going to be on? Either Raw or SmackDown.
I couldn't say.
Since no. All right. Thanks, Good night.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night.
Yep. You too.
All right, let's take one final call, then we'll go to the text messages and wrap everything up here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, what's happening, Tim?
How's it going?
Doing good, sir. And actually, the reason I'm calling you, I just got back from the SmackDown Live show in Roanoke, and it was absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, but the big surprise was Daniel Bryan showed up in Roanoke, and we did not even know about it.
Pardon? Say that again?
Daniel Bryan showed up.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, so it was really freaking amazing. And so anyways, so you don't think they're not going to basically join both titles together for the women's division after Mania?
You know, if it was me, I wouldn't, because of the brand split thing and the move to Fox. Fox wants to have, we've heard the rumors. I don't know how true this is. I've heard the rumors or heard the reports of Fox wanting SmackDown to kind of be like its own little thing, because they don't want to be promoting something for the competitors on USA Network. You know what I mean? And so if you're doing that,
right,
then, they can promote a little bit of, hey, go see this on Raw, because they've got to, because it's their own property. But if they want to keep it to a minimum of promoting stuff for another TV network, then you have to have your own women's champion on SmackDown as well when they do move to Fox. So I think for that case there, and keeping the brand split an actual split, you got to have your Raw Women's Championship. You got to have your SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Now,
oh yeah,
I know some people might say, well, what about the women's tag titles? There's just not enough women for that to be specific to each brand. So that one's going to be the one that's kind of like, okay, we'll see how it plays out.
Right. And but yeah, back to the live show. When we saw Daniel Bryan, me and my girlfriend and my best friend, we were like, what the hell? And because they didn't even advertise them over the Berglund Center. And I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But the awesomest thing was Kofi Kingston was there because they did a a six-man tag match.
Okay.
Revolving Sanity. And then all of a sudden you hear Daniel Bryan's music and you're like, oh my God. And so, but then at the very end of the night, you see both men staring each other down. They did not even talk or anything. They just stared at each other, and then both men's music hit, and then that was the show. And it was just unbelievable. So,
how was the attendance?
I thought for Roanoke, it was kind of down, but the crowd was into it.
Gotcha.
I would say they probably drew about 2,000.
Okay.
If I had to estimate it.
That's not too bad for a Monday.
Yeah, and see, most people will be watching Monday Night Raw and then they'll watch SmackDown tomorrow night, but a lot of people didn't realize it was on a Monday night.
Right.
And so, but it was kind of interesting. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and it was pretty cool to see the New Day, even though a lot of people were kind of not getting into them.
Right.
But what's do you think New Day's going to be involved in Kofi's match whatsoever Sunday?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I can see them maybe. It's hard to predict, because I can honestly see them being there at ringside, but then at the same time I can see the whole thing where they state that the New Day can't be at ringside, so then they'd have to say maybe like Rowan can't be at ringside. So maybe they come down with Kofi,
right,
wish him best of luck, and then leave. But
right,
I would, It would be interesting if they left the New Day out there, if they left Rowan out there, and those maybe like Big E and Rowan have a confrontation at ringside. Be interesting for it to like kind of like, you know, you get the match going, and then you do a little spot with them maybe. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see.
But the other thing is too, are they going to do anything with Luke Harper since he's now clear?
All I know is Harper's working the Access shows. I think on either Thursday or Friday, he's supposed to be taking on Donovan Dijakovic, or Donovan Dijak, as most people still know him as. He's working the Access show.
Oh, that's what's up. I mean, and I know Dominic Dijakovic, I think that's his name. But, I mean, I follow NXT as well, and I'm really looking forward to NXT TakeOver as well. That's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a great show.
But thank you, Tim, for taking my call. You have a good night.
You too. Have a great night, and thanks for the call.
You're welcome.
All right, so with that, wrap everything up. Check the text messages. Person asked me, do you think Johnny Gargano will win the NXT Championship? And you know, they've got Aleister Black and Ricochet come to the main roster. If they need one more big call-up, bring up Gargano, give the title to Adam Cole. Let's see what they can do with Adam Cole as a champion. This person here says, tag team matches are good, but I think they are doing too much of it tonight. I mean, what they really wanted to do was get as much people on the show tonight as possible leading into WrestleMania. So I think that was the issue there. Joe Decker says, can you see Cena inserted into the IC match? No, not a rest. No. Cena's not going to be inserted to any matches already announced. I think Cena's either going to have some sort of an opponent we don't know about, or he's going to be involved with Elias. I think it's going to be one of the two things. I said the Elias thing a couple weeks back as well. Caller said it tonight, and I really think that could be what they do with John Cena. It's the Elias thing. He's going to bury Elias, and I don't even know if you'd call it a burial, but he's going to put down Elias in about 3 or 4 minutes, and there we go. With that, it's going to wrap up the show tonight, guys. I want to thank everybody who watched live, everybody who was in the live chat, the callers, the texters, people that watch later here on YouTube or listen on iTunes. And don't miss us tomorrow after SmackDown Live or in the morning at 11 a.m. Pacific for PWU Daily. If you do want to get your questions answered on a future episode of PWU Daily, you can head over to pwunlimited.net/PWU Daily now to get your questions in. Again, that show does run every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific right here on the PW Unlimited YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow after SmackDown. Have a great night, guys.